Right, Viktor, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Man, I'm so glad we were able to do this. And as your people start to come into the room here, we just had a quick chat before we came on and just connected and strategized what we're going to talk about. But I always say that it's a conversation, not an interview. So we just go where it goes, right? So
Fantastic. Sounds good.
absolutely. Sorry, just saying hello to a bunch of your people in the room. Moon Room Pilates. Hello. Nice. Okay, so Victor, if you could just say your name and your business, and we'll just go where it takes us.
So, my name is Viktor Uygan. Thanks
Uygan.
for the try, by the way. Don't worry.
Terrible.
Nobody can say it. It's like everybody is like looks at my last name and they're like, what do I do?
Yeah.
So don't even worry about it. My name is Viktor Uygan and I own Connect Method. And Connect Method is basically what I'm trying to do with Connect Method. I try to use external resources to create internal connections in human movement.
Yes.
So that's what I'm after. And for that, I have a couple products. One of them is Konnector, which is accessory for the Pilates reformer.
Mhm.
And the second one is the work that I do with bands for the mat work or any type of movement. Again, it's not strictly for the Pilates mat, but I can apply it to yoga, I can apply it to golf, fitness,
Okay.
any type of different things. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I don't know too much about that other product. And actually, even with the connector, I didn't realize that it was an accessory to the reformer. I thought that the whole reformer was the thing.
Yeah, the best
Okay.
part about it actually is you can have, if you have a reformer, you can actually choose to convert your existing reformer to a
Yeah.
connector reformer. All you have to do is you buy a kit. There
Yes.
is a special kits design for the specific reformer that you have because every reformer is a little bit different.
Yes.
And it's designed and made specifically without having too much work, right? We use
Right.
the existing screw holes in the reformer for the risers. We use the existing bolts and nuts, so you don't do anything. You just buy the kit and it fits to your reformer and it converts your reformer.
See, I'm a car guy, so what you're saying is it's just a bolt-on accessory.
Yeah, you don't have to damage your car.
Right.
Just attach and deattach when you don't want it.
Right. Got it. So for those who don't know what the Connect is, so can you just talk a little bit more about that and and we'll get into how you discovered it. So pretty very 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 cool.
Yeah, well, it's again, Konnector, it's going back. I was a professional ballet dancer, and my journey of becoming a professional ballet dancer started very young.
Mhm.
And during that journey, one of the first big moments for me, one point they told me that I will never able to move again.
Oh boy.
So I had a back problem, and the doctor said, we have to basically operate you, fuse your lower back, and you'll never move again, or you'll be paralyzed.
Yes.
Second doctor, same story. Third doctor, same story. The fourth doctor said, do this, do that, you'll be fine. So I continue with my journey.
Okay.
And during that journey, also, there was always like, you're not going to make it, or you're not good enough. You don't have
Yes.
what it takes.
Yes.
I wasn't talented, right? There were
Yes.
talented people, and there were people like me chasing talent, right? Or being always put
Yes.
down that you don't have what it takes. Uh, I did what I did, and I got a job in my dream country,
Okay.
which is United States, and
Yes.
it was by payphone.
So where were you
And
originally? Sorry?
I was born, raised in Turkey.
Oh, in Turkey. Okay.
Yeah, my father is Greek, my mom's Italian, so I'm from Greek, half Italian
Yes.
family. I was born, raised in Turkey. And I did my all classical ballet education in Ankara. It's called Conservatory of basically Ankara Conservatory.
Okay.
And then I did actually dance 1 year in National Ballet of Ankara. And after that 1 year, I went to Italy to study in Florence for Cecchetti diplomas. And
Okay.
at the end of that year, I got a job offer from United States on the payphone, and they told me, you have an offer from Hartford Ballet,
Okay.
Hartford, Connecticut.
Connecticut. Yes.
I thought they said Harvard Ballet. I'm like, yes, let's do this. Harvard, I know Harvard. I watch all the American movies, you know.
Right. Yeah.
I love to go to Harvard. That's it.
You heard what you wanted to hear, right?
Oh my God. So you don't even know, Martin. I literally I packed my bag for Harvard. I flew to Harvard. I'm sitting in municipal bus station, and it says Hartford Civic Municipal Bus Station. And
Okay.
I'm reading Hartford without the T. I'm saying, oh, this is a silent T. I know in English there's some silent
There's
letters.
nuances, right?
Exactly. Yes. So even that I see a
Oh,
T
no.
there, this is Harvard. This is not Hartford.
Yes.
So I went to sleep in Harvard.
Yes.
But in the morning I woke up and somebody popped my bubble, and they're like, no, 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 you're in Harvard. You're not in the college town. You are actually in the insurance town,
Oh,
and nobody
okay.
cares about arts or ballet. So good luck.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I think during my journey is I always pushed for more, for better. To become a better dancer, to become a talented dancer, to become a better mover or talented mover. And during my journey, I realized, because I end up becoming a Pilates teacher, and I realized why the fourth doctor said, do this, do that. Do this, do that was basically taking care of my body instead of pushing it the way I wanted to move. For a specific movement patterns, which is mine was classical ballet dancer. Some people's is yoga. Some people's is golf. Some is tennis. Some is running. Some is bicycling. I mean, in a way, we overuse our body to create or to perfect specific movement patterns.
Yes.
And the others gets neglected, and this imbalance creates problems in our body.
A pitcher is a perfect example of that, like a one side dominated sport.
Yeah.
Yes.
And a lot of things like that. And if you think about classical ballet was the best because we always do both sides. We do right, we repeat to the left. We turn right, we turn left. We jump with right leg, we jump with left leg. So it's actually, we're really trying to create the balance, but again, having always external rotation and not really focusing internal rotation of the legs. That's a problem. Always more extension than flexion. That's a problem. So there's always nuances. And I worked with a lot of dancers when I stopped dancing. Opened a studio in 2002. And during that time, you realize I start to get these kids that have huge passion for dance, or it could be not just dance, for their sport, they're golfers, swimmers, but not talented. And I'm like, how can I help them? How can I help them is to teach, basically create a technique. Because if they learn how to achieve what the talented movers do, they end up getting a technique. And what I also realized, the people who learn technique, they were more consistent and they didn't get in trouble in the future. The talented kids that they don't know how to do things, it just comes naturally.
they're not as conscious of it or
Yes,
intentional with
sometimes
their
they
movement.
get in trouble because, you know,
Yeah.
it's our body. One morning we wake up and we are like, oh, I was great yesterday. This morning I cannot do what I did yesterday. What's going on?
Yes.
And talented people, sometimes they get lost because they didn't really break down and learn how they were doing what they were doing.
Yes.
On the other side, non-talented, the people who had to work to get where they need to do, they could
Yes.
break down and they could repeat it or they could troubleshoot it.
Yes.
So my how became, or my why, I should say, my
Yes.
why was basically trying to create systems or education to create non-talented people so they could become a talented.
Gotcha.
Right? I want to give them an option. I want to give them a chance. That I
Hmm.
felt very frustrated because people give up on me in a way, right? You're not
Yes.
talented, your leg doesn't go high, or
Right.
your back
Yes.
is blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, how can I do it? I'm really working. I'm
Hmm.
hearing you, but all you telling me, you are not it. You're not telling me you have to do this to get there.
Yes.
So,
It's interesting, one of my guests I had on here, Chelsea, has like a degree in motor learning theory, right?
mm,
Where and that's basically what you're talking about there. If you were to label it from that school of thought, it's okay, how can I give you a skill set that can move from being conscious to unconscious and that you can get mastery of that skill and then do the same thing with the next piece and then the same thing with the next piece that someone may just naturally have.
yes.
So now you've
And
created like some accessories and things to aid people in accelerating that process.
exactly. Now, it is difficult to able to tell you. It's different that me able to do it and feeling it, and then asking you, Martin, do you feel this? And you're like, no. Okay. Uh, so many times I could say, do this, do that, or engage this, or engage that, right? And most
Right.
of our clients, they even go like, ooh, what did you just say? Multifidi? What is
Yes.
that? Is that a dish?
Right. Yes.
You know?
Yes.
No. So,
Hmm.
um, let's start from here. So what I do is basically I use external resources to create the internal connections.
Okay.
And it started with me trying to feel like, oh my God, I want to move, but I cannot move the way I want to do it in reformer straps. I
Yes.
felt very limited. So
Hmm.
I was like, okay, lay down on your back, put the straps on your feet. This is fantastic. You're going to love it. Okay, let's go up and down with straight legs. Very good. Let's bend your knees in and out. Fantastic. Let's get free and creative. Woo, let's do circles.
Hmm.
And that was it, right?
Right. Yeah.
So technically, and I felt like, why can we do one leg at a time? Why can we cross? When can we just move one leg? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
That restriction of the straps really make me feel like, oh my God, I cannot move. And not everybody is same. Different people needs different things.
Yes.
We not kangaroos or bunnies. We don't hop. We do reciprocal movement patterns when we walk. So
Yes.
why am I training everybody always together
In parallel. Right. Yeah.
and same at a time, same both legs doing the same thing? And in the
Yes.
normal life, we don't do that,
Good point. Right.
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So we don't basically walk unilateral. We always contralateral.
Yes.
So I said, okay, we have to bring everybody to mat work. So I start to do mat work a lot. And when I was
Yes.
doing the mat work, the problems that I was mentioning, where am I supposed to feel this? Or the coordination of the movement, or
Yes.
understanding where their limbs are in air during the
In
movement.
space.
What is
Right.
arm doing compared to
Yes.
legs? Yeah.
Right. Right.
So to do that, actually, I have just here, I'll just show you. Uh, I decide to use a band, nothing new,
Hmm.
but my intention was not to give them a resistance. It wasn't, here, go take this and look, can you feel it? It's much harder. You're going to be stronger. That wasn't my intention.
Right, right,
What
right.
I did, I put a loop at the end of the bands, just tie the band. So there's
Yep.
two loops, and I put these loops on their feet.
Okay.
Once those on their feet, I basically start to make them do regular mat exercises. And this is basically connected to my right foot, and this is on my left. So
Yes.
now when my right foot moves, my right hand goes down. So I feel that, then I have consciously, I have to hold and resist to that
Yes.
movement,
Right.
right?
Yes. Yes.
Or I can actually open away from each other, or I can bring it close, or I can just cross the band. Now because I crossed the band, my
Hmm.
right arm's talking to my left hand instead of the right hand.
Yes.
So I start to create those connections, and the connections was really kind of like following the body's slings, right?
Yes.
The
Right.
cross slings, lateral slings, all those things.
Right.
So it worked. They felt it. They were like, oh my God, I feel it. And I see the progression on their body and their movement.
Amazing. Right.
And then I said, this is fantastic, but it's not a reformer. I love reformer. I mean, how can you get rid of the reformer, right? As a Pilates
Right.
instructor. So I
Yes.
said,
Yes.
can I do this with the, then I brought the band to the reformer, and I was doing a TheraBand work on the reformer.
Yes.
Then I said, I wish reformer straps can function like a band
Yes.
independently. And
Yes.
then the first connector came, and first connector had only two straps.
Hmm.
And I was having such a great time with the clients. They were able to actually, freely move their limbs. They were doing running motion, walking motion. They were able to
Yes.
hold one leg and work single leg. And the best part about that, the holding leg it was involved in the movement, right?
Yes.
Because there's
Yes.
a resistance to it.
Right.
And you might think of, oh, that's an isometric
Isometric.
contraction,
Right.
but it's actually dynamic isometric, because they
The
are
other
using a
leg.
one source.
Yes.
When you move the other leg, the holding leg, the weight changes. It gets heavier, it gets
Yes.
lighter. It gets
Right.
heavier, it gets lighter. So they were communicating with each other. And in a way, they had to agree or disagree what they're going to do next.
Right. That's okay. So for everyone who just heard that, that's an amazing story and just a great understanding of the body and a curiosity with the body and then layering it in and all that wonderful stuff. But people do that. They come up with stuff all the time. How did you get people to buy into your concept? Besides the people, like, I mean, because some, like, your people would feel it, but how did you expand it for other people to realize what you're doing and that this was a really good thing?
Well, I'm still trying that. It's not done. It
Right.
is not done at all.
Fair.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
I am finding our Pilates industry, there's many different way of looking at the Pilates, and we are very protective of what we do. And
Yes.
I feel like it's hard to break that in.
Right.
And it's been done one way for a
Hmm.
long time. And like any industry, I believe there is 10-15% of my what do you call my customers, let's say, or my
Sure.
avatar. 10-15% of it sees it. The minute
Hmm.
they see, most of them, they don't even try it, they
Right.
order it. They're like, oh my God, I was looking for this, where it's been.
Yes. It
Of
makes sense to them.
They like immediately, they're like boom. And we call that pioneers and the visionaries, right?
Yes, the
uh,
early adopters.
exactly. And I was reading a book actually, Churn. I don't know if you know, it's kind of like they were comparing with the Apple, right? When the Apple
Yes.
first brought the phone,
Hmm.
that 10-15%, they didn't even question. They're like, we buying this.
Yes.
And then we have this 50-60 around those numbers. They're like, oh, it is cool. Oh, I like it. But you know what? I'm not sure.
Good luck with your sales.
Yeah,
Yes.
I have my flip phone with the
Hmm.
buttons. This is
Yes.
working. I'm not sure if I want to do that, but it's pretty cool. you know?
Yes, yes, yes.
And then the other 10%, you know what? I am never giving up my flip phone, so doesn't matter. You know, we could be in Mars, I'm gonna use my flip phone.
Yes.
So those 10, 15 is not for me, right? They
Right.
never gonna see the value on the connector, and they never gonna try it. Or even they try it, they're not gonna budge or break.
Yes. So, Victor, can you just put in the chat the name of the book you just mentioned, please?
Sure,
Yeah,
I'll search
just
and I'll put, I
okay,
believe
perfect. Yeah.
the churn. I'm not sure if I'm gonna spell right, but I will try.
And
Um,
yeah, so to stay with that analogy of the flip phone, um, yeah, there's people who are going to stay with a pure flip phone, and there's people who are going to love the innovation and recognize how the innovation is paying homage to the flip phone.
I can't believe you said that. Thank you. Yes, yes. I always say, I hope one day, people doesn't realize this. I hope one day somebody will invent something that better than Konnector, that will validate that what I created with Konnector was something good, and it opened new doors for the future, for what's next, for our
Well
movement.
said. Yes.
You know, that's when I get validated, actually.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, because
Yeah.
someone's seeing that and springboarding off of what you said, and like that's great. And
Yeah. Can we take
yes,
it to another step? Can we use
yes,
this to do this or to do that?
right. Okay, so then what is there a model that you're looking at where you say, okay, in this industry, this person made this off of this. It got to this point and then this came after that. Like can you see a parallel with what's happening with your business in some other industry where it's gone through that genesis?
Well, I believe, again, we can go back to flip phone. Or actually, I have another thing that I can think of, like what I heard with Tesla. Basically,
Okay.
they are leading the electric car industry.
Right.
And when they basically said, here's our patents, here's our formulas, this is how we did it,
Yes.
everybody went and say, like, are you crazy? What you doing? Why are you
Yes.
telling people how you achieved longer mileage, right?
Right.
And his point was, I want industry to change and become electric. That's when we become successful. If
Yes.
we don't share how, and
Right.
others stays in regular engines, we're not going
Yes.
to be successful. We want everybody to use the electric, so then we can actually compete with them and say our electric car is better than yours. But if the whole world doesn't convert to electric, we are going to be small speck,
Yes.
right?
Right. That, well, yeah, and that speaks to having a huge vision and also having huge confidence in your product to say, let me create the competition so I could beat the competition I just created.
Here we go. Exactly. But
That's like big talk.
and that's a big vision too, and that's also passion. Is something you really believe. And thinking
Absolutely.
about with the connector, for me was, I believe it because I basically enabled human movement in a piece of apparatus we loved.
Yes.
I did not take away the movement options that Joseph Pilates created on the reformer. Do
Mm-hmm.
you want to move still? Um,
Parallel.
par More than parallel, it could be turned out parallel. It's like
Yeah.
both legs together, right?
Yes,
Do you
yes,
want
yes.
to always move
Bilateral.
bilateral, or do you want to have an option also to do the
Yeah,
contralateral,
contralateral or unilateral.
unilateral?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Do you want to connect your upper limbs with the lower limbs?
Right.
Do you want to do full body workout? Or do
Right.
you just basically use one limb or just your arms in regular life? When you
Well,
lift your luggage and put it on the bins in the airplane, is it
yes.
just your arms moving? Is it just your body? Is it just your legs?
Right.
Is it
Right.
the whole
So
body creating the movement?
gotcha. So you're basically having the same conversation that we had in the personal training world 15 years ago and said, what is functional movement? Do I do a concentration curl like this? Or do I add, or do I do a shoulder press like this? Or do I do a squat to a shoulder press? Or a squat to a rotation to a shoulder press? Because when I'm picking up a suitcase or I'm
Yeah,
getting in my car, I open the door, turn my hip, lower myself down on one foot. That's a single leg squat. That's not just a back squat in one plane of movement.
you got it. You got it. And
Gotcha.
that's the options that I created with the connector.
Yes.
And in our connector training, the first thing that I do, I basically have them lay down and I said, straps on your feet, together, bend and push, straight up and down, again, circles.
Yes.
And then they trying to do single leg. And I said, no, I said together.
Mm.
Or I see one moving more than right and left. I said, look, the only thing I'm taking away from your regular reformer is your ability to cheat and compensate.
That's what I was gonna say, because now you
So,
cannot depend on the taut strap or the taut pulley. You have to find
yes,
that within your body to keep it unilateral or bilateral. Sorry.
people are so, especially good movers, are so good to use the fixation of the ropes to compensate
Yes.
and do things that
Yes.
looks good, but not functionally good.
Mhm.
So I make them
Hey,
lay
yep.
down and I do up and down, bend and push circles in your arms, arms down and up,
Yes.
triceps, some T shape. And then I said, get up. Thank you so much for the class. How do you guys feel? And I'm like, great. Did I do any connector? They're like, no. So I asked them, so what makes connector reformer connector? Is it the machine or of the instructor and the instruction? because
Right.
because I want them to understand this is a machine. So if you want to use your original repertoire, teach your original
It's still
repertoire,
available to you.
except cheating.
Yes. Yep. Yes. That's what you're speaking about there is what we're talking about just really briefly before we got on here is when I was working with TRX, we spent so much time on education. When I was working with equalizers and my friends who built that, they go to every trade show, they're teaching, they're doing workshops and certification stuff. Your product is only as good as your education. And if you
Yes.
can do a good job of educating teachers who are going to be teaching it and educating people who are going to experience it on what they're experiencing, then the product has its own validity because people are feeling their bodies, they're noticing the difference, and they're noticing the difference when they go back to the traditional work as well, right? So they can now take those principles and go back to the original work and now start to work from their body instead of depending on the fixed points of the movement.
And when you say they feel the principles and they relate those principles to different apparatus they use, and then
Yes.
they get inspired and they get motivated and
Yes.
they feel more versatile. Oh my God, I love this in here, but I can also use what he said on this.
Right.
And that opens up their creativity, their problem solving.
Mhm.
And we all help each other
Absolutely.
by educating each other or learning more.
Right, exactly. And that's the point I was going to make. And when, and I keep pulling back to the personal training world, which is gone through this battle so many times. I can do a boot camp class and just make you sweat with burpees, or I can educate you on what a good workout should consist of, a dynamic warm up and all these different things. So when someone walks away with that education, like you said, they could take that education to any other piece of equipment or any other part of their workout. But
Yes.
but the pieces that you have created give their body different feedback and give their body some different information.
And those great point. So this is another thing that I like to mention. So I was a huge believer is we as a teacher, we need to educate clients
Okay.
because then we become a DVD player.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't really actually educate and create
Right.
in a self responsibility to the client,
Mm-hmm.
not only do what we say,
Right.
understand what we say,
Yes.
and apply the things that they understood in their daily life. So actually it will help them
Yes.
and it will help us.
Right.
Because how
Yeah.
many times you want to tell clients again, heels on the bar, flex foot, and they're like,
Right.
oh, I never done this before. Actually, you did it last 10 years, but you still
Right.
don't get it, you know?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Kim Crothers was on, myself, Misty, Martin Fills, a bunch of us were on this Instagram live last night, and Kim Crothers was saying, are you an instructor or are you a teacher? The teacher is educating and giving people those points and letting them find it within their body. The instructor is just making sure you don't get hurt, just making sure that you're just putting your feet in this position, now arches, now heels. Like you're just giving orders and making shapes. You're not actually teaching or educating people. And so she made a great point. Like to your point, that's
Yeah.
exactly it.
And now with what I'm finding, this sources that I'm chasing, external sources to create internal connections.
Yes.
This sources creates an environment to the client
Mm.
that they feel it. They don't even need a teacher. So it
Yes.
activates their internal teacher.
Yes.
Activates their CNS, central nervous system, right? What they feel in the connector is basically, you know, how we have efferent and efferent nerve system and information.
Yes.
So with the touch, with the feel, with our
Yes.
proprioception,
Yes.
we basically get some information. And
Right.
it goes to our central nervous system.
Yes.
And through that information, our central nervous system, without us thinking anything,
Mhm.
sends the correct message to correct muscle groups to activate and do the work.
Yes. Okay. So
Right?
then, so the question then, sorry, were you finished that thought? Because that just made me think about something else with that.
No, go ahead, tell me, because I'll tell you this story. Don't forget your
Yes.
question.
Yes. 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 Yes.
It was the biggest moment in my life in a way. Like I created the connector, I have 4 straps, and I'm working with my client that I've been working 10 years.
Yes.
And then I said, close your arms and legs in the same time next to you. So she did it first, and she
Mhm.
kind of slipped sideways because she was using her right side more than left side.
Yes.
So I'm ready to tell her, engage your core. Don't use your right. Squeeze your left obliques, right? That's our
Right.
instructor, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
then she looked at me, she went, shh. And I'm like, okay. And then she reorganized herself and she started to do the movement. And she gave me a smirk. She was like, I don't need you. I got this. And that for me was unbelievable. I still get goosebumps because she said, I slid, I went this way. Now I have to organize my other side to able to do it, to counterbalance. And I don't need you. I got it because I can feel it. That's a win.
That answered my question.
That's a win. Now
Yes.
I can actually spend time for
Yes.
alignment. I can spend time positioning. I can spend time the timing, things like that. I don't have to keep telling them like, do it right. They are doing it.
Yes.
And when I say do it right, I don't chase perfection.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
chase movement patterns because I believe
Yes.
movement patterns creates neuroplasticity,
Yes.
which it will teach our body and become automation, just like
I,
you said.
I would add to that individualized movement patterns,
Yeah.
right? Because it is like my movement pattern may look different than your movement pattern, so we can't prescribe one movement pattern for both of us,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's just like
Yes.
I may need to focus on more internal rotation because I have an external rotation while I'm doing an exercise. So that is the individual movement pattern I need to burn that neural pathway so that I can get to that place.
Because you're missing that.
Right, because I'm missing that.
Most of the time, because that's your weakness, actually.
Yes, yes,
And we love to go our strength. Who wants to look
absolutely.
bad? Who wants to fail?
Right,
You know, who goes, does something? I cannot wait to do this and fail.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't want to be patient. We don't want to actually pull back
Mm-hmm.
to move forward.
So yeah, so
right?
Victor, look at that, like what you're saying too, like when your client was like, Shh, I got this, that's a great teaching moment for us as teachers because we get in this habit of giving cues and over cueing, and we don't give people the space to explore what they now know, almost like a test out, or we don't give them space to fail,
Mm-hmm.
right? So she was about to fail and you're about to save her, and she was saying, no, give me space to find this correction myself and move. And I think that that's my challenge sometimes as a teacher, is to really just step away so that they can safely fail, so that they can safely learn, and they could safely almost test out on the information I've already given them, so that they can progress to the next layer of instruction. You got this? Great. Now let's see if this can happen. Let's see what happens if we take this away, or if we add this, or if we switch up some variable in there.
Yes, for me, it's a fine balance
Yes.
of basically come, pay me, and you figure out what you're going to need.
Right.
That doesn't kind of sound right. Yeah.
No.
So
Exactly.
I'm like, I'm paying you and you telling me I need to figure out what I should do. Okay. How about you pay me and I'll try to figure out what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
Yeah.
So
So
you
it's a
have
very
that
fine
conversation.
balance.
Right.
Exactly. But my
Yeah.
main thing is create the environment so they'll be
Yes.
involved. It's a partnership, right?
Yes.
It is, it's so funny. You don't even know is like how many clients just because uh, Pilates industry, mostly female. So I had a lot of
Hmm.
female clients as well. And, we are working and I'm really motivated. I'm trying to do something, but they're complaining about their husbands to me. And I'm saying, do you realize I'm a man? I do the same thing. Don't complain to me about them, right? Or
Yes.
their partners or things like that. So now you put them in the environment to any client, and this could be male too. Male
Yes.
complains and talks about crazy stuff too.
Right.
So you put them in the environment, they have to be involved, they have to contribute. They cannot like
Yes.
autopilot and go through the
They can't
movement.
just check their body in for an hour and
Yeah,
check out mentally.
yeah. I am basically stuck between two shoulder rests and a bar. So all
Hmm.
I can do is just extend, bend, extend, bend. Now, let me see what Viktor thinks about my outfit tonight. Or
Right. Right. Right.
let me talk to about the sports that I watch. My team, go my team, go my team, right? And
So
I'm
you
like,
just so you basically created this to shut people up so they'll actually get into their own body instead of complaining.
well, I found out that's what's happening. That wasn't the
Yes.
reason I created, but that was the plus.
That's the plus.
So the
Yes.
proprioception,
Yes.
full body workout,
Yes.
the coordination of the limbs, and they have to be in, they have to think about it. So many
Yes.
times I tell them, move your right leg and left leg, and they go like, okay, hold on, let me think about this. They actually say, let me think about this. I'm like,
Yes.
ah, man, it's about time, isn't it?
Right.
Welcome,
Welcome.
welcome, welcome to your workout. You are
Yes.
actually thinking about your workout. And
Yes.
going back to Joseph Pilates, and you were thinking about educating my clients, and obviously one of the first thing they come up, some people says this is not Pilates.
Right.
Well, it is on the reformer, but I understand your feelings. So can you tell me why? Why it's not?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the question goes for me, this is for everybody. What is Pilates? Do you
Sure.
ever ask people what Pilates is?
Yeah. Can people put the answer in the comments section? I'd love to hear what your answer is to that question when people ask you what is
Yes.
Pilates.
And we'll come back what
Mm.
Pilates is, because a lot of the times when people actually describes what Pilates is to them, I ask another question. I said, okay, that's fantastic what you told me. Now, please answer me. Nobody else did what you just explained before Joseph Pilates?
Mm.
Was see the first one, because they said it's a core workout, for example. Okay, so before Joseph, nobody worked their core.
Right.
Yeah. or they go safe exercise. Before him, nobody did anything safe.
Mm.
Lengthening the muscles. Nobody before him, nobody lengthening.
Okay, so
Right?
here's one answer. Active mind and body connection.
Okay. So now, how about yoga?
Mm.
And they started like 5,000 years ago.
Right.
Did they not do? Did they not do that? Right? So here we go. Pilates, way to wake up the muscles that are dormant in your body and connect your mind. Yeah, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
I think I'm getting a little later. Thinking and working simultaneously. Perfect. So now my
Yes.
questions to all those watching.
Yes.
Nobody did that before. For me, I think they did, Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga. I mean, these
Right.
guys go like
Martial
5,000
arts.
years ago. Martial
Right.
arts, exactly. Think about the focus and moving.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now I'll tell you my personal opinion on Pilates. I believe his principles. His principles, he didn't say just do the things.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he created some exercises too and machines, but
Yes.
he said do it this way, do it
Yes.
with using the principles.
Yes.
This is my
A
personal opinion.
or a system of exercises is his phraseology, right?
Yeah, and he did create it, but you see, I don't get stuck. I cannot get stuck what he created, because if he was alive, I believe that could be changed, that could be more, that could be less.
Mm.
He could say, I've been doing this, but I now found
I'm going
out
to
with the
distill it down to,
science, or
yes.
with the science, he could
Yeah.
say like, wow, the science says this now, and I was believing that.
Mm-hmm.
So let me get rid of that and keep the rest, because that doesn't fit the science, because I believe he believed the science. He wanted to be in the hospitals. He wanted to
right.
change the health of the United States. He wanted to make a
Yes.
difference in the people's lives.
Yes.
I don't think he
I'm,
was going to say like, I'm going to ignore the science. I'm going to do whatever I did. He's going to
right.
evolve. He's going to change. He did.
Yes.
I mean, I invented Konnector in Home Depot. I had everything in Home Depot supplied to me.
Yes.
Did Joseph had that in his time, or did he use whatever he found?
Exactly. Whatever he found, right?
Yeah. Would he change the quality, the material, or the size, or the material? I believe he would. Why stick what he created and say, this is it, I created once and it's going to go forever?
Right.
So that's how I feel. And going back to Pilates, for me, when I do something else, even if I end up teaching some different machine, I take his principles, because for me, I believe his principles and the value his principles provide.
Yes.
Involving the breathing, concentration, precision,
yes.
full body movement, the
yes.
balanced muscular development. That principle, now I take that and I could put me on the forest and I can exercise people on the tree branches.
Yes.
Guess what? I'm going to maintain his principles and I'm going to teach them, lead them with that way. So for me, I'm always doing Pilates, because I am really trusting, believing his principles. And now I'm just adding to it where we can take his work.
Absolutely. There's a comment here. Most of my friends do HIIT, and I'm not a big fan of it, but I do teach them Pilates principles to do their HIIT, and the responses are happy. People are good with that. One of the ways I say it too, Victor, is that some of the movements that I use are informed by Pilates. Like I use that in phraseology, informed by. So people may want to, wrestle with whether this is a classical exercise or whether this is Pilates or not. But if everything's informed by Pilates, by its principles, by its roots, and you understand its basis, you can go wherever you like with your Pilates principles because it's informed by the work.
Yes.
Right? So I like what you're saying about asking people what is Pilates, because when you can answer that question for yourself like you did, and you can explain what you're doing, we are still full circle educating people on what we're doing right now.
It's the biggest topic in my trainings. People say, Victor, can I do this? And I say, okay, I have 3 questions. 1, do you know what is the original?
Yep.
They go, yes. Okay. Then I said, what is your intent? And intent cannot be, I'm trying to hurt someone, or I saw it on the Instagram.
Right.
So I just want to repeat it.
Yes.
No. Tell me why you changing it, or why you adding it, or why you taking it out.
Yes.
If you have an intent, I look at him and I said, thank you. I'm very proud of you because you're a teacher.
Yes.
You
Here's
told me what it was. You told me you
Yes.
knew what you're doing, but you
Yes.
knew what the original is.
Yes.
And you told me what the problem was, and you told me this is the solution, and you told me you would like to execute to solve the problem. You're a teacher. I love you. There's no way I can say you cannot do that with my product. Of course, do it. I love it. Do whatever you want. This is a tool for you to problem solve, to make a difference in people's life. It's not repeat exactly what I did. Yeah, but know what I did.
So I missed the third then. So what's the original? What's the intent? And what was the third?
For the intent is basically your intent should not be I'm trying to hurt someone.
Yes.
Yeah, basically. The third one is basically your intent should be problem solving, because you find a problem, it didn't fit, it's not good for this person, or this person needs more of this way of approaching it.
So what is it solving? What is the reason? What is the why?
Again, what is your intent? Why you knew the original, why you wanted to change it, why you want to add it, or why you want to take it out. Okay. And if that fits the problem that you already solved, you're a teacher. Fantastic. Of course, do it.
Yes. Okay, cool. Okay, so I follow you there. So I'm just trying to distill can I make this new exercise up dialogue.
Okay.
So if I showed you, hey, I'm going to do this one-handed, no eyes, clap push-up on the reformer, if I could say what was the original exercise that Joseph Pilates did with this, and what is the intent of doing this, and I can give you solid answers for that ridiculous exercise, I can do that ridiculous exercise.
Yeah, who am I to tell you yes or no?
Yeah, that's why I use
right. It does come down to that.
But that's what I do in my own practice. When I want to add something or change something, I usually have an intent. I see a problem. Instead of just saying, oh, that's a problem, I try to think about it. Is there a solution?
Yes.
And if I get the solution, if I figure out the solution, then I can say, can I execute it? Right? Sometimes I cannot execute it. I'm not a physical therapist, or I don't have specialty licenses. So sometimes I have to say, okay, the solution is maybe a massage therapy, or it's
outside of my scope, right?
Exactly. So then I will say, okay, I cannot actually implement it. So you need to go see somebody. But then if I can implement it, here you go. I saw the problem.
Yes.
I figure out the solution. Now I'm going to implement it to find a resolution.
Yes. Love that. When I was doing my Viper training, I forgot Michel Dalcourt. He's a California guy as well. He was in Toronto doing some training and trained us all in the Viper. And during this really long training thing, he had us get into groups of 8 or 9 people, showed us the base exercise, and then send us to breakout groups and just make some exercises out, come back to the group and present your exercise. And so, let's say it's just a basic squat, and then people will come with all these different fantastic, creative, super strong or super challenging, balanced perspective exercises. And you say, okay, great. Why did you do that? What muscles are working on? That makes sense. Okay, next. Okay, so what did you do there? When you can nail down the why, when you understand the base exercise, when you're able to regress an exercise down so someone can do it, or progress it up so it can challenge an advanced mover, you are a teacher.
Yeah. And talk about the teacher, I'm going to give it a shout out if you don't mind. But I just saw Troy McCarty in house right here. Hi, Troy. I mean, this guy is fantastic tutor. He is doing fantastic things, videos too. And I believe is what we were talking about. It goes very well. When you know what you're doing and you can actually break it down to details and communicate with people, it makes a big difference as a teacher as well.
It makes all the difference. You know, it's a cheap gift to make an exercise harder.
Okay, here we go. So
right?
I wish I figured this, but I heard this from Nora St. John.
Yes.
And it related so much to me. It's fantastic work. So until the basic exercise, it is very difficult for you to do it. Mm-hmm. You should never advance. You are not ready to advance. Right. If I give you a basic exercise and if you tell me this is too easy, can we make it hard? You are not ready to make it hard. Because you didn't understand that basic movement. You don't know how to take the nutrients out of that, you know, simple movement. You just digest it and you throw it away. Yes. There is so much nutrition out of this, and that nutrition is going to make you stronger for the next level. And if you don't know how to take it out, extract that nutrition out of the basic exercise, you're not ready to move to advance. You're going to collapse. One point is going to give in.
Well, okay. And real talk, if I'm in a class and someone says that to me, the first thing that comes to my mind after being slightly annoyed by that question is, where did I miss in my teaching so that this person actually thought this exercise was easy?
Here we go. We need to break it down. We need to go back. If they're not able to basically with our direction, if you're not able to see the results in there, we need to step back. Because one point you're going to see there's something that we did prepares them for the advanced exercise was missing.
Yes.
Or they need to do some work.
Right.
Yeah? And this type of things for me happens, you know, we always talked about it. One day you get up, you're great, and next day you're not, right?
Yes.
There's so many things we cannot control. A client comes in that day that you said, you're thinking, what did I miss that he's not doing it? Well, do you know about that client? What happened that morning?
Yes.
Did they lose somebody very close to them? Did something
get some news?
Tragic happen? Is it a bad news?
Right.
Or did something great happen to them? Oh my God, they're a billionaire, and all he is thinking right now, how am I going to spend my money? You know, you don't know where their head is. Or the environment. Is it a sunny day that day, or is it a dark day? Is the room, the lighting is a change?
Yes.
Or is it too much light? Or there's a spotlight that you have is coming to their eyes, and all they are thinking, I'm blinded here and not able to focus.
Yes.
Is it cold? Is it warm? Are they wearing something they feel very uncomfortable or unconscious? Are they saying, you know, I bought this yoga shorts, but I feel like everybody, you know, is seeing me or it's not fitting me. I mean, there's so many things we cannot control either.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I still put that back on me as a teacher to say, am I asking myself those questions while I'm teaching this class?
Yeah. And we have to provide the environment again. We talked about it. The environment has to be so valuable too. So we need to also ask questions. You know what? I love when there's a pumping music going on. It makes me excited. Well, is everyone you?
Right.
Maybe not. Or go for it. Do that so you can attract people like you to create network, to create environment that people will come in and they're so happy with that loud music.
Yes, exactly.
But if you're trying to serve everyone, you're going to have to make some decisions that compromises, right?
Yes, yes. Yeah, yeah. And so is that Karate Kid, Mr. Miyagi, there are no bad students, just bad teachers?
Well, all right. Okay, you said that.
I just throw it out there.
Actually, I feel opposite.
Okay.
This is what I tell my students.
Yes.
You ready?
Yes.
I tell my students, especially when they're young, I said, there's no bad teachers, there's bad students. Do you know why?
Yes.
Because I did this myself and I seen people doing it, and we talk about it. When there's a talk, things changes. So
Yes.
that teacher is a teacher no matter what you do in that class. You can give him an attitude and you can say, you don't know what you're doing. I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to do my own way. Right?
Yes.
You didn't affect that teacher. He's still getting paid and he's still going to have classes. He's a teacher already. But
Yes.
guess who got affected? It's you, that you didn't know how to deal in that environment.
Yes. So
You
you
didn't
robbed
know how
yourself
to deal with, yeah,
teaching
you
opportunity.
blocked it.
Yes.
You blocked it
Yes.
instead of saying, I don't like the way he teach. I don't like his exercises. So I'm going to skip this exercise and I'm going to basically make myself very narrow and not able to deal with different circumstances. It might not be that what I like. But
Right.
if you stay in that discipline and you know what, I kind of don't like this exercise, but I'm going to see what he's trying to do. I'm going to make best out of it by protecting myself, but still doing the exercise. Now, you became a better mover. You became more experienced mover. You created an environment yourself. In the future, if that happens again, you know how to deal with it. Instead of failing, you're going to actually rise and you're going to succeed.
Yes. Yeah, I'll take that.
Just the feeling.
There you go. So Victor, I think we need another hour because,
right?
Yes, these conversations all week have been like really in-depth, encouraging, like warm, fuzzy type conversations, and we just like dove deep on just the nuts and bolts of movement, equipment, the essence of teaching, like just some really solid, and comments and conversation. So here's a few comments here. This is a great conversation. I got to get to work. Catch the rest on replay. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yes. And also the Pilates workshop. Loving the conversation. I am loving the conversation too. Man, this is so good.
Yeah. It seemed like we were first thinking like what we're going to talk about it, and just the topics came out. Topic. Now we need to pick those topics and go in depth.
Yes, for those who are watching us, we had this conversation before. I don't think we touched on anything that we said we're going to talk about today.
Welcome to my world, you know.
Great.
If you cannot tame and control my mind, it's going to go all over the place.
No, that was so good. But, okay, so we'll do a round 2 for sure because I still have our topics to talk about.
Awesome.
Yes, so thank you to everyone who joined us. Troy, thanks for jumping in to say hello. Sorry, this is a comment from earlier from Pilates workshop saying a client wanted to go into the rollover because she saw it on Instagram, but basic reverse curl was not right. Took me some time to explain that to her. Yeah, our clients come in and that's it. But I mean, that's the process, right? And actually, funny thing with that too is there's the part of it is explaining to people so they understand where they are in their Pilates journey. And the other part is what I was saying about earlier is like giving them space to fail. So if they could safely try it to realize why they can't do it, maybe that will encourage them to do the work to get there. Right? So there's that part of letting them explore their movement, explore their limitations so that they're inspired because they understand what's happening in their body, what they need to do to get to that place too, right? So
yeah, that's so cool. That's fantastic. And I like her that she actually showed her leadership, and she wanted to educate her instead of saying, okay.
Yep.
Right? Okay. Oh,
that's
cool.
A great point.
Let's do it. When people say, can I add more spring? Okay. That's a lot easier. It is a lot harder to say kind of no or why it's not a good choice for them.
Yes.
Or just like you said, maybe if it's safe, let them feel and then say, okay, we got to do this to get there.
Yes.
I totally agree.
Yeah. Oh, that opened up a whole
I know.
line of
here we go. Here's another topic. There's another
topic.
topic. This is
All right,
fantastic. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Victor,
And
absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, man. Thank you.
of course, it was worth it to wake up 6 a.m. for me. Just kidding. It's early in California.
West Coast woes.
I know. All
All
right.
right. Okay, signing off, man. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.